Good evening, everyone. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where words felt like armor, something to shield yourself or prove your worth? I know I have. We live in a world that celebrates loudness, constant activity, and relentless hustle. We've been taught that to win, to succeed, we must always speak up, fight, and push forward. But what if the greatest power isn't in the noise, but in the silence? Silence isn't just the absence of words, it's a presence. It's the stillness that allows us to hear what's really going on both around us and within us. It's the courage to pause, to reflect, and to let go of the need to fill every moment with action or validation. Tonight, I want us to reflect on the profound strength that lies in silence, because when we embrace it, we don't lose ourselves. We find everything that truly matters. Imagine standing in the middle of a bustling market. Noise surrounds you, people shouting, vendors calling out their wares, music playing in the background. Amid all this, it's almost impossible to hear your own thoughts. Now imagine stepping away from that chaos, finding a quiet space where you can sit and reflect. The difference is striking, isn't it? That's the power of silence. It's the calm that allows wisdom to emerge. In today's fast-paced world, we're constantly bombarded with information, opinions, and noise from all directions. Social media, emails, notifications, conversations, it's endless. And while much of it is valuable, it often drowns out the voice that matters most, our own inner voice. Wisdom doesn't shout at whispers, it needs space to rise above the noise, and that space is created through silence. Silence isn't just the absence of words, it's an intentional act of slowing down. When we step back from the noise, we allow ourselves to process, reflect, and truly understand what's happening in our lives. Think about it, some of the most profound insights come to us in quiet moments during a walk in nature, in the stillness of early morning, or when we sit in quiet contemplation. This isn't just anecdotal, science backs it up. Studies show that our brains are more creative and insightful when we're not overstimulated. In silence, imagine standing in the middle of a bustling market. Noise surrounds you, people shouting, vendors calling out their wares, music playing in the background. Amid all this, it's almost impossible to hear your own thoughts. Now imagine stepping away from that chaos, finding a quiet space where you can sit and reflect. The difference is striking, isn't it? That's the power of silence. It's the calm that allows wisdom to emerge. In today's fast-paced world, we're constantly bombarded with information, opinions, and noise from all directions. Social media, emails, notifications, conversations, it's endless. And while much of it is valuable, it often drowns out the voice that matters most, our own inner voice. Wisdom doesn't shout at whispers. It needs space to rise above the noise, and that space is created through silence. Silence isn't just the absence of words, it's an intentional act of slowing down. When we step back from the noise, we allow ourselves to process, reflect, and truly understand what's happening in our lives. Think about it, some of the most profound insights come to us in quiet moments during a walk in nature, in the stillness of early morning, or when we sit in quiet contemplation. This isn't just anecdotal, science backs it up. Studies show that our brains are more creative, and we've all been in conversations where it feels like the other person isn't truly listening. They're waiting for their turn to talk, interrupting, or distracted by their own thoughts. These moments often leave us feeling unheard, unseen, and disconnected. Now imagine the opposite, someone listening to you fully, with genuine interest and empathy. It's transformative, isn't it? That's the power of listening. It's a skill that not only deepens relationships, but also fosters trust, respect, and understanding. Listening is more than hearing words. It's an active process that requires presence and focus. When you truly listen to someone, you're not just absorbing what they're saying, you're trying to understand their emotions, intentions, and perspective. It's about setting aside your own agenda and creating a safe space where the other person feels valued. This is especially important in moments of vulnerability. When someone shares their struggles, joys, or fears, they're offering a part of themselves. If we respond with judgment, interruption, or indifference, we risk breaking that connection. But when we listen, really listen, we affirm their worth. We're saying, I see you, and what you're sharing matters to me. Listening also changes the dynamics of conflict. In heated arguments, people often focus on making their point heard, which can escalate tensions. But when one person chooses to listen instead, it shifts the energy. By giving the other person the space to express themselves, you're showing that you value their perspective, even if you don't agree. This opens the door to finding common ground and resolving issues more constructively. It's important to recognize that listening doesn't mean you have to solve someone's problems or always agree with them. Often people don't need solutions, they need to feel understood. A simple acknowledgement of their feelings, I hear you, or that sounds really challenging, can be incredibly powerful. It's a reminder that they're not alone. In professional settings, listening can be a game-changer insightful when we're not overstimulated. Impatience is often described as a virtue, but in today's fast-paced, instant gratification world, it feels more like a superpower. We live in an age where waiting is uncomfortable, where delays are seen as setbacks, and where silence is mistaken for inactivity. But true patience isn't about simply waiting, it's about what we do with that time and how we navigate it. Silence is the fertile ground where patience takes root and grows. Silence creates the space we need to embrace patience fully. When we're silent, we allow ourselves to pause, reflect, and accept the natural flow of events. It gives us a chance to step back from the urgency of wanting immediate results and instead align ourselves with the rhythm of life. In that space, we find clarity and strength to endure the wait. Think about the moments in life when patience is truly tested, waiting for a dream job, healing from a setback, or navigating a difficult relationship. These moments can feel endless and frustrating, but silence helps us to manage them with grace. Instead of filling the void with noise, overthinking, complaining, or forcing things, we can use silence to ground ourselves, trust. In a world that often values busyness over meaningful progress, silence can feel counterintuitive. We are conditioned to believe that action is the loud, fast-paced movement of constant doing. But true action, the kind that leads to lasting, impactful results, is rooted in silence. It's in the quiet moments that we gather our thoughts, align our values, and take deliberate, purposeful steps toward our goals. Silence is not inactivity, it's intentional stillness. When we stop to reflect, to clear the mental clutter, we create space to connect with our deeper motivations. In the noise of daily life, it's easy to get swept up in other people's expectations or the urgent demands of the moment. But in silence, we remember what truly matters to us. We gain clarity on the direction we want to move in and the purpose we want our actions to serve. Consider the most successful people in history. Many of them thrived because they understood the value of strategic, quiet moments. Think of leaders who, before making major decisions, took time away from the spotlight to reflect, assess, and plan. It's in the silence of reflection that they sharpened their focus and aligned their actions with their core values. They knew that thoughtful, purposeful action is far more impactful than a flurry of activity that lacks direction. Action without purpose is often just movement for the sake of movement. It can feel like we're doing a lot, but if our actions are not aligned with our values or goals, they're like a boat adrift without a paddle. Silence, however, helps us to recalibrate and understand the deeper reasons behind what we're doing. When we are clear about our purpose, we act with intention. Every step we take is a reflection of our values, leading us closer to the life we want to create. Think about a time when you had to make a big decision. If you rushed into it without taking the time to listen to your inner voice, to weigh your options, or to reflect on the long-term consequences, you might have ended up somewhere you didn't want to be. But when we allow ourselves the space to be silent, we make decisions that feel aligned with our deeper self. These are the decisions that create momentum, inspire confidence, and move us toward our desired outcomes. Furthermore, silence before action also cultivates mindfulness. In the quiet, we become more attuned to our surroundings, our emotions, and the people in our lives. This heightened awareness ensures that when we do act, we do so with empathy, respect, and clarity. We're not simply reacting to external stimuli, we're responding thoughtfully. with a sense of purpose that drives meaningful change. When we take action as we come to the end of this conversation, I want you to remember one thing: silence is not an absence, it is a presence. It is a tool, a space, and a force that can transform our lives in ways we often overlook. In silence, we find clarity, we find strength, and we find the ability to take actions that are truly purposeful. It is through silence that we hear the truth both about the world around us and the world within us. So the next time you find yourself surrounded by noise, whether external or internal, remember that silence is not the enemy. It is where wisdom blooms, patience flourishes, and actions with purpose are born. Let silence guide you to the life you want to live, and let it empower you to move forward with intention and grace. Thank you.